Francisco, New York City, North Carolina, wherever you're viewing from, welcome to I Must Do My Father's Will. I wanted to share with you all about a story. I call it a testimony with a happy ending. And it's a story between me and my brother. It's an event that took place in my life in 2021. Here we go. Me and my brother grew up close. We both grew up men of God, born again Christian, serving God. Grew up close. We did everything together. We fought. We've had our disagreements. We've argued. We've had our fights. We're brothers. We do everything that brothers do. And as we got older through life, life happened. We grew up. We fought more, disagreed more, but we've always came back together. So eventually he got married and he had a son, praise God. And the woman he was married with, kind of she wasn't treating him right. So she kept trying to come in between me and him, to cause division, to separate me and him. So she was really weighing in heavily on that situation, trying to separate me and my brother because she was jealous that me and him were close. So one day I got married and my brother didn't too much agree, with the woman that I married, but I loved her. So I made my decision and I married her. But, my brother took it hard and, he wouldn't talk to me for a while. And I knew that's what it was. And so I moved away uh, to another city. But just before I moved away, me and my brother had a fight. And I'm going to take my time because this is a very touching story. So we had a fight, and just like always, and that was it. The fight was ended. I'm not going to go into detail, but the fight was over with. And then after that, I moved away shortly a few days after, and it was about 3 hours away from where I live. And he called me up a few days after, apologizing, and asking me to come back. That's my brother. So, and he was saying that he was sorry, and everything. And I was saying that I was sorry to him for the things I've done to him. We hurt each other. We're brothers. And he seemed to he spoke with my wife as well on the phone, and he apologized to her, for whatever beef he had or whatever rough feelings he had towards her. And everything was squashed. Then, a couple of days later, he wouldn't talk to me again. His he wouldn't answer my calls, and he just wouldn't talk to me. But we got off the phone fine. Just a few days before that, we made peace. But just a few days later, he wouldn't talk to me. So, so I called up my mom and said, what's going on? I tried to call him. He's not answering. And, she was just saying, just give him some time. He's going through it. So I said, okay. So a year went by. Still didn't hear from him. 2 years went by. Still not hearing from him. 3 years went by. Still no call from my brother. Now becomes 4 years. since I've heard from him, and we haven't seen each other because I've been away out of my city. So eventually, I moved back to my city, and it was the year 2021. It wasn't too long ago, and it was during Christmas, December. I moved in with my mom to get reassituated, and my brother would come by, and visit my mom. And he came by on Christmas Eve and didn't know I was there. Now, again, we hadn't seen each other, heard from each other in 4 years, and I've been reaching out to him ever since then, and he just never responded to me. So he didn't know I was there that Christmas Eve night, and he was coming by to hand my mom a present. And I was sitting at the table, so was my wife, and I said, "Hey, Brandon." He didn't speak to me, walked out and left. So I said, "Okay." He still don't want to talk to me. Okay. So next month, my mom calls me up and says he got in a motorcycle accident, because he had a Ninja. And, he's been in several, small little accidents before on the motorcycle, but this one was different. And she said he got in a motorcycle accident. And I was like, again? Okay, well, how's he doing? And she said she doesn't know. He's in the hospital right now. The doctors are not saying anything. They're not telling anyone anything. And they're just going to have to leave an update. I said, okay. So my mom called me the next day. And she was crying and upset. And she was saying that my brother's in very serious condition. And he's in the ICU. And I was like, what? I'm like, no, this is not my brother. No, no, no. So the report goes that my brother just runs into the back of a truck, but that's not my brother. My brother doesn't drive that way. He doesn't just run into the back of a truck. So something must have went wrong. So I was like, okay, Mom, well, how's he doing? And she was like, I don't know. His wife is there. She's not really saying much. We're just waiting to hear back from the doctors. I said, okay. I said, well, Mom, just call me and let me know. If you find out anything, let me know. She said, okay. So the next day, my mom called me again, crying heavily, saying, Calvin, you got to get up there. You got to get up there and see your brother. And I'm like, Mom, what is wrong? She's like, you got to go see your brother. So I said, okay, well, let his wife know that she has to let the nurses know that we have the permission to come up there and see him. So she did. And then we went up there, and my brother was all hooked up to everything, life support. I mean, he was banged up. So the doctor told us that he received some very heavily damage to his kidneys, his lungs, both his legs died. And I'm like, wait a minute, no, this can't be my brother you're talking about. So, but that was my brother up there in the bed, uh, hooked up to the ICU. He was out, of course. They had him sedated, and he was only in there for 3 days. So each of us went in the room and spoke to him alone. My mom and my sister went first, and then I went in there. And of course, I went in there with myself and my wife. And Here I see my brother, finally, but he's in ICU. I hadn't seen him and spoke to him in 4 years. And all that praying I've been doing, Lord, bring us back together. Bring us back together. I want to see my brother again. Bring us back together. And when I finally see him, he's in ICU. He's still out. They had him sedated on a breathing machine. He was in life support. So the doctors were pretty much telling us that they done all they could do, and they're just helping him feel as comfortable as possible. But they were going to leave it up to us to pull him off life support. So I went in there. Again, this is my brother's older than me. This is my older brother. I looked up to him a lot. So I went in there, and the nurse said he can hear you, but he just can't talk. So the nurse let my brother know that I was there. And so I said, Brandon, it's Calvin. How you doing? And I knew he could hear me, so I just kept talking to him, telling him about all the times I've prayed for him, all the times I prayed for us to get back together. I was telling him all of that. I was telling him how much I've missed him. And then I just started praying for him. And I just started telling him, forgive everyone that have done you wrong. Forgive me. If I've done you wrong, forgive me. Because unforgiveness is not allowed in heaven. So I said, Brandon, forgive everyone. Because I wanted to make sure that he made it in. And I prayed for him, and I asked God personally. I said, Lord, let my brother in. Forgive him. I stand on his behalf. Let him in. And I felt in my stomach, that's where I feel it, that everything was going to be okay, and the Lord heard me. And I told my brother that I would be back because I only had so long in there. And so the doctor met up with us in a room, me, my mom, my sister, and his wife. And she told us that there was nothing else that they could do. And it was basically up to my mom to pull him off life support. And my mom was like, are you serious? So there is nothing else you can do? And the doctor said, no, there's nothing else we can do. Uh, the doctor said if we did try anything, and if he did pull through, he would have very difficult complications. He would have to be fed. Uh, he wouldn't be able to walk again. He wouldn't have legs. He would need help going to the bathroom. So knowing my brother, he was a singer. He was a performer. He danced. He loved dancing. He traveled all over. And it would eat my brother up to know that he can't dance anymore. So my mom thought about it, and that was the hardest decision she had ever made in her life. She told the doctor to go ahead. So this is the hard part. This is where it really got to me. And folks, this story means a lot to me because it's just, I call it a love story with a happy ending. And I'm about to tell you why there was a happy ending. So 20 minutes went by, all the nurses went in there and they pulled him off the life support to see whether he would come back or not. So the nurse had let me know it's okay to go in there. He's off life support. So I went in there, and his wife was in there. It's just me and his wife and my brother. And he's there on the bed, He's still not awake, but he's breathing, strangely, you know, he's breathing like that, eyes closed, still not awake though. But his body was just fighting to stay alive. And I told my brother, I said, Brandon, I'm right here. It's okay. I'm right here. Excuse me. So while he was sitting there breathing, I was just letting him know, Brandon, it's okay. You go ahead and go. I'll see you again. And it was just killing me that he was breathing that way. So I just kept praying and asking the Lord, Lord, please come get him. Please. And just about a minute or two after I said that, I noticed his breathing started slowing down. It got slower. It got slower. It got slower. And I watched his every breath until the last one. And my brother was gone. I couldn't believe it. But folks, it means a lot to me to share this with you all. This is the first chapter of my life that I wanted to share with you all because it means a lot to me. You are all like family to me. I love you all. I don't have to know you, but I love you anyway. I want you to be a part of my life, but you have to know me and you have to know what I've gone through, what I've been through, where I've came from, and where I'm going. And the reason why I shared this story with you, because it's a testimony. And here's the happy ending. So, his wife left the room, and it was just me in there. And I had to say one more final goodbye to my brother. So, excuse me, I kissed him on the forehead. I told him, I'll see you again. I'll see you again, Brandon. So I left the room because I had to tell myself, Calvin, he's not in that body anymore. That's just his body. So I had to leave the room. So when I got home, I prayed, and I got with the Lord, and I said, God, you're going to have to confirm for me that my brother is with you and he made it, and that you heard my prayer. I said, let him come to me in a dream, vision. I don't care. Just let me know that my brother made it and he's with you. So he passed away in January 21st, 2021. So about a month later, this is tough. My brother came to me in a dream, real as day. I swear that was exactly my brother. I mean, tall, same hair complexion. I thought he faked his death because when I saw him, that's how real he looked. But I was in my grandma's house, and I just appeared in my grandma's house, and I was in her kitchen. And then my brother walks in through the front door. saw me clear as day. I saw him clear as day. He walked up to me, held his arms out, and hugged me tightly and said, "Thank you, Calvin." He was crying like a baby. And he just kept telling me, "Thank you, Calvin. Thank you. Give my son my best." And my brother was thanking me because he heard me praying along by his bedside. And that told me God was letting me know he made it. So, folks, the reason why I wanted to share this with you is because when you're close to God, you can come through any battle. And this is why it's so important to know God personally, as a person, as a friend, as a real person, because God is all man and he's all God. So he's got a human side just like we do. So he's 100% God, he's 100% man. And without God, I would not be here today. I would have been given up. Because still to this day, the Lord is helping me continue my journey dealing with the loss of my brother. The pain of it still hurts. But the Lord is telling me, "Calvin, you have to continue your journey." So let me help you all. Who's ever watching this video, if it blessed you, hit a like or let me know how it made you feel. If this resonated with any of you, reach out, let me know. Because if there's anyone out there that has gone through something similar or never have gone through this, but I do feel that there's plenty of you out there that has gone through similar to this. You have lost a loved one and you're still dealing with the pain. You're still dealing with the hurt. So this is my story to help you continue your journey. You have to complete the journey in the life that God called you to do. Because the steps of a righteous man are ordered by God. He ordered your steps. And knowing that you've lost a family member or you've lost a friend, whatever it was you lost, you have to continue your journey. It's important. And the most important lesson that I learned out of losing my brother is this. The Lord told me, "Calvin, I'm all you need." And still to this day, that helps me because it hurts to lose my brother. It hurts. It hurted me to see him breathe his last breath. But when Jesus says to me, "I'm all you need, Calvin," so it dawned on me. I'm like, okay, my brother is not all I need. My mother is not all I need. My sister is not all I need. My friends are not all I need. Folks, Jesus is all you need. He is the reason, and you must complete your journey. So if you're feeling discouraged, just know that Jesus is all you need. Complete your journey. Folks, I will be back on here again to share with you the next chapter of my video. And until then, always remember to put a smile on your face and let the joy of the Lord be in your heart.